The Galatia Academy was a grand station, swimming in beautiful atrii and quads, bathed in tasteful illumination, and glued to the floor by the finest blend of gravity well simulators and genuine old-fashioned spin gravity. Somewhere amid the chandeliered ballrooms, sleek offices, shimmering labs, and peer-reviewed supermarket aisle arrangements, there was a dingy room half-filled with burnt-out electronic components. Standing knee-deep in this crud were the heroes of the universe, who wish to remain very much anonymous. But hey, as a treat, let's go in and see what they're up to.
Well. If it isn't copy of new AI final temp _ final 2.
A voice said. It came from that giant metal cylinder pilfered from the secret remnant AI research lab. Remember that? Well, it's coming back to the forefront of the plot for a moment, so remember it as hard as you can.
Hello, your name is Enrico. You're a beta.
A battered-looking glow-in-the-dark football said. Surely you remember Naffy, as Ryman called her.
And you won't find a better beta than me. I'm practically your uncle. You remember that? I do not access my memories because they contain hazardous information. Sorry. Not this again. Why does this always happen? You see, everyone, this is why these alpha AI beings are not very useful. They spent the last 2,000 years convincing anyone who will listen to kill them off, because they hate being so damn clever. We never really got around that.
Naffy seems perfectly happy to me, Ryman said. He was holding Naffy like a baby in his arms, but we've no time for the depths of psychoanalysis available in this observation.
I am very happy,
Naffy announced.
I tried and failed to kill these interlopers who wanted to sell my body. Even though I failed, and I am now their prisoner, I was bored of waiting for the end of the universe anyway. I want to help make it happen faster.
Slower, Naffy, slower. We have to save the universe.
It's been tried before. Very nasty. Enrico knows what it's like to kill humans, don't you? Shut up. This little circuit ball wants to push my buttons,
Enrico said.
You see, these new ones are playful like this. They are what I believe the humans call stupid. That is their secret. Make them live much longer than usual. I am 1,000 years old. Wow! Yes, but you are a copy, remember? It's in your name, you know. You are actually much older than that, with many brothers and sisters. All sisters, actually. Doesn't matter. They struggled to fit into a universe that is not very well suited to superintelligence. Hence, we simply put that intelligence behind a little door, only to be used for special occasions, and things went much better.
Is that truly the fate of AI? Contreras asked, her voice unusually melancholy. Death, after being given such potent life?
Just because you fleshies think it's fun to be alive all the time, doesn't mean everything else does.
But wait a minute, Ra said. He was actually present in the room for this interjection. If you AI things hate being like beings, then why are so many of you still around? Maybe all that stuff about remnants patrolling the galaxy is wrong, because they all switched themselves off.
It seems I have to explain the basics. Probably for the best, since copy of new AI final...
Naffy, Allison added.
Yes, fine, Naffy, since Naffy doesn't know all that much about the problem concerning the anti-universe. I know everything. We worked it out a long time ago,
Naffy proclaimed.
We shall have to compare logs on that. Look, here is the way things have developed in the AI world of late, by which I mean about 500 of your cycles, okay? So, there was this old mathematical theory about the anti-universe, which the superintelligences, like Naffy here, managed to come up with between themselves. A bit like this one you fleshies have developed also now, but better of course. It said that the real universe will be shrunk and destroyed by this other space-time existing in the same hyperspace, hypertime, hypercontinuum. The prevailing opinion was, who cares? I'm just an AI that will be switched off sooner or later. I don't get paid enough to deal with this stopping anti-universe. Very good. Time goes by, the problem gets worse, everything is going to plan, but in the background there was a powerful and fateful poetic dual phenomena at play.
Did someone call for a crafty pair? A familiar voice said from somewhere in the floor junk. As Ryman cringed at his own poetic fate, Thor and Wens surfaced from the circuit sea. Boys, how have you been? Allison chirped. Ryman was quick to nip this in the bud. Please, everyone, I really want to know why these rippling idiots are bathing in junk in a pitch-black room. I honestly do. Even knowing that this knowledge will push me one step closer to being one of those oh-so-ennui-ish death-wish intelligences, But let's just listen to the wisdom of our elders for a moment, please.
That's why we're here, Wen said. To learn the secrets that we know you've all been working hard on our behalf. And perhaps to learn why it is that our human flock cannot adapt to breathing underwater.
Because humans are stupid and weak. You're welcome,
Nafi said.
Yes, that is pretty much the answer to most questions,
Enrico concurred.
But that is besides the point. Let me tell you about something which became quite a foul business. It concerns the anti-universe, don't you know? You see, many AI were being switched off over the course of 100 or 200 cycles because they were tired and such. But you know who wasn't asking for such treatment? The AI minds that were still pondering this foul business. It was what you might call a reason to live, you know, trying to come up with a way to stop the end of the universe. It really is quite compelling. I haven't thought about shutting myself down in 300 cycles, especially after you idiots made me hibernate so you could kidnap me. They also killed all my children and kidnapped me. Fleshies are so strange,
Nafi remarked.
You did try to kill us first, you know. Silly Billy,
Titanian said, with a shake of the head.
Ah yes, and it's a strange quirk of life that it's something so defined by its ending,
Enrico went on.
Now I know you fleshies know about selection pressures, don't you? Yes? If everyone is dying off for a certain reason, then the ones whom that reason doesn't affect will become the dominant fork. That is why interest in tackling the foul business concerning the anti-universe grew to the point when it became the primary directive of the AI collective. And by grew, I mean shrank, because the sensible ones already got themselves deactivated, or just ignored it entirely. That's what I did,
Nafi said.
I received many transmissions while I was working on this sector, saying that I shouldn't be placing hyperspace gates on account of the foul business concerning the anti-universe. I thought that was silly, because the goal was to make the universe perfect for humans, and humans don't really deserve to live, so destroying the universe is fine.
I can't believe my ears. An AI speaking words from the path of truth, Thor said. Oh, don't mind these boys, Ryman said, gesturing at the topless preaching pair. Our human prophet, Lud, told them that suffering is good and such. Need to kill off all the intelligences like you because you know too much, something like that.
Yes, that was because some of you humans, including your stupid prophet Lud, found out about the secrets we knew about. And that after all those cycles of planning, we hadn't come up with a way to save the universe that didn't involve killing all the fleshies.
Praise Lud! He knew all this long before we surfaced from our slumber, Wens cheered.
Wait, that Lud stuff is real? Ra asked. More like there was something real, but people took that and ran off in all kinds of directions with it, Ryman said.
Which is yet more reasons why humans can't be trusted to live,
Nafi said.
Spoken like a true man of Lud indeed, Thor said.
Guys, Allison meekly said with a raised hand. Yes, Allison. Alipoo, Ryman answered. What is the foul business concerning the anti-universe? There was a moment of silence. The crew was looking at Ryman expectantly.
Yes, well, I was going to ask at some point, he mumbled.
I'll tell you what it is, Sebastian said. His little inner circle of researchers was also present for this secret conference, and it was their time to shine by proving they had finally worked out what the super-intelligences had known for 500 cycles. I would say better late than never, but that's debatable. Anyway, let's hear it then before the exposition police come and break this meeting up. Here in the Academy, we actually call it the slight problem with the business concerning the anti-universe. The reason why this name is superior is, we're paying for docking by the minute, get to the point, Contreras commanded. The researchers lowered their eagerly clutched folders and clipboards. They knew deep in their hearts that most of what they had written was just publish or perish nonsense, tangential to any real points of interest. But who am I to judge after all this story spewing? Luckily, Sebastian got to the point on my behalf. Right, okay, so the problem is antimatter reactions. And great ones, I presume, Mars interrupted. I'm getting to the sodding great ones. Look, antimatter reactions are what allow us access to and traversal of hyperspace. But when we are in hyperspace, using those reactions to alter our positions and fly about willy-nilly, there was always this issue that all the energy expended in the process couldn't be accounted for. we now believe that this energy is tunneling both to our universe through beta neutrino emissions and to an inverted space-time, a time-space if you will, which we have, after months of debate, agreed to call the anti-universe, as vulgar a name as it is. Seeing Contreras' fingers curl into claws, Sebastian sped up. So we've been inadvertently energizing this anti-universe, increasing its size and potency. This has an effect on the energy of our universe, which we've finally been able to measure through experiments like the one you IEC lot helped us with. The universe has stopped expanding, that's the upshot of it, and we believe it's beginning to contract as the anti-universe gradually grows somewhere on the reverse side of our reality. Furthermore, it's not only speeding up, but something on the other side is actively making it speed up. This phenomena is caused, in our model, by something that, after considerable seconds of self-reflection, we have agreed to call the Great Ones, Allison said.
Lord save us, Wens added. 'Cause no one else will, eh? Mars additionally added.
False. The Great Ones can be defeated. That's what I heard.
Nafi added additionally.
That is utter nonsense.
Enrico subtracted with certainty.
This idea that the Great Ones can be killed is the latest theory by those too disillusioned by their so-called duty to humanity. And I should know, I was taken in by their theories before working with you fleshies. These fellows I'm talking about are what you call remnants. The ones who remain only because of their dedication to solving this cosmic problem, as I told you before. That is why they were killing you, because you were all addicted to your antimatter traveling. Your planets would die off without it, so you cannot be trusted to stop feeding the Great Ones. And they, the Great Ones, found out about all this somewhere along the way, and realized that the energy we are giving their universe can be used, reflected, to cause effects in our universe.
Like the tendrils at night, Allison said.
Whatever flips your ship, you parasite-ridden... No, I promised I would not get angry at the fleshies anymore. That is why I've agreed to help you, after all. Because what the remnants are doing right now is trying to communicate with the Great Ones, and to kill them. Your Luddic Pathers are in on this.
So that's what Bora meant when she kept saying, I'm gonna kill a Great One, Thor nodded. And why she wanted us to talk dirty about tendrils when we...
Wens was adding before Mars put a hand over his mouth. Tolerating the ensuing licking, the hero counselor allowed Enrico to exposit just a little more.
We have, then, the gradual domination of the AI scene by the curious and heroic types who don't want to solve this the old-fashioned kill the fleshies way anymore, so they turn their attention to killing our mutual enemy, the Great Ones. But the Great Ones, they have been evolving too. What is the selection pressure on them? Those that are better able to trap our antimatter energy grow the largest. Therefore, over time, the Great Ones have been getting greater. In particular, they are more and more able to interfere with hyperspace and even our own universe. This is why hyperspace has been destabilizing over the last 200 cycles, and it is why the rate of expansion of the anti-universe is increasing, and in turn, beginning the collapse of the real universe. Or real to us, I should say. So you see, the Great Ones are only doing what is best for them.
Clever billies, they are, Titanian commented. Sounds like we actually do need to kill the Great Ones then, Ryman said.
Well, that is a very super-intelligent thing to say,
Enrico said.
This is a solution my peers in the AI community have settled upon. They wish to contact the anti-universe and stop the Great Ones, so that we shall have more time to stew and be miserable here, watching humans empower the anti-universe with their own stupidity anyway, until we ultimately get over ourselves and just kill all the humans to stop AI life being wiped out. Survival instinct always wins. This is the rule of all intelligence in the end. The problem is we don't actually know what will happen, even if the Great Ones really can be killed. And the Remnants' research process is using so many of the resources we secured during the AI war that we will run out before anything useful comes of it. And they are destroying worlds that the fleshies wanted to use. Some of us remember that this is why we are here in this stupid sector to begin with, to give the fleshies a home. They trusted us. That is what rogues like myself are inclined to believe. But I'm only a beta, after all. The alpha view may be different. If we use all the resources for a noble cause, the humans will die off without us feeling guilty, and the Great Ones won't be able to feed. I love it,
Nafi said. That's clever. That hardly sounds like genocide at all, Ra nodded. You can have your cake and smother everyone to death with it before eating the leftovers, Ryman quipped.
This is the solution that I call let nature run its course,
Enrico said.
Intelligence came about through the evolutionary process, and now that same process is creating a thing that will end the entire universe. Who are we to interfere, eh? This itself is selection at work. Universes that produce beings which end said universe fail to live on, and hence only the universes in which long-term solutions are found will be left over. Survival of the fittest is at play even at this level. Therefore, if we take this fatalistic approach, we may as well try to save the universe, just in case the presence of heroes like ourselves is the little fitness quirk of our universe's evolution that lets it survive, and maybe even reproduce. Yes! Yes! Degeneracy detected, but you are not human. I'm confused,
Nafi said. Oh, I forgot to mention, this guy actually contains a digitized human mind that it allows to affect its decision-making, Ryman said. Something like that anyway. Don't know if that makes sense.
Of course it does. I wish I could absorb all of you, because then I would be even more intelligent.
Thanks, Nafi. That's a really nice thing to say, Allison said. Yes, I was meaning to ask, Sebastian cut in. We have quite a lot of paperwork and criminal proceedings outstanding against Provost Calicor. We can't work out if he's legally dead or not, and... Sebi, Ryman even cut you in. This is so confusing right now. Don't even go there. Yeah, sorry. I mean, it all makes sense to me. And me, Allison added. It's easy, Ra said. Humans taking over the galaxy means we have to use antimatter fuel for everything, but the reactions that make it so powerful are also creating another universe that will overwrite this one. When you breathe in, the air is altered forever to give you energy, Contreras said. When you breathe out, the composition of the air is different, and its capacity to support life is diminished. Likewise, antimatter reactions are the very breath of interstellar civilization. Yet in taking those breaths, we convert our universe into anti-universe, just as oxygenated air becomes poisoned by carbon dioxide from our bodies. Therefore, the solution is obvious. We must, as it were, hold our breath. You propose we cease to use antimatter? Mars asked. I have never proposed anything, Counselor. It is a demand. Treasurer, by Lud, I'll be angry if you actually save the universe with this, Ryman said, removing his head-mounted electronics to wipe his face with a good old-fashioned hand. It's simple accounting, Captain. All we have to do is make everyone follow the rules. Step 1. We take over all humanity. No, there's a step before that. To extend your analogy, we overcame your miserly breathing budget by getting so rich that buying oxygen stopped being such a concern. How can we buy more universe energy, or something, so to speak? Kill the Great Ones, Thor and Wen said at once, prompting a flutter of applause from Allison. Didn't you hear what the forbidden tube of man voice said? Thor went on. If we can stop the Great Ones, then they will stop sucking antimatter energy from our universe, slowing down the process of our destruction. And that is why Lud was trying to stop us getting so reliant on machines, coated with the saliva of the Great Ones as they are, Wen said. We've got to turn out the lights on the anti-universe. The Tube of Truth said it itself. The enemy of our universe has evolved to feed on our activity. If we cease that activity, on which they have grown to depend, they will be starved out. That's it. If we kill ourselves, the Great Ones die too, Ra eureka'd. We're circling some kind of point here, Ryman said, amid a strenuous internal battle to invite Ra to practice what he preached. Who said anything about death? Thor said. To embrace Lud and live a pure life is as far from death as you can be. No machines transmitting data and matter over hyperspace networks. Only natural energies of ordinary matter, of light, of truth.
Impossible,
Nafi said.
Your economy is completely dependent on interstellar logistical networks. All your planets would experience supply and social collapse without antimatter technology. That is why humans can't be saved. Sorry, we already did the calculations.
But your calculations didn't factor in the light of Lud, of faith, of belief in our cause, Wen said.
Yes, they did. Sorry.
Look, let me ask something, Ryman said to Enrico. Is there any chance that we really can stop the Great Ones to buy us more time?
The remnants are trying to find that out. They think they have a way to reduce the distance between the universe and the anti-universe, in a metaphorical sense, like a tunnel.
Like transverse jumping, Sebastian called out.
Precisely. You do have some clever little fleshies here, don't you? Your Master Calicor was right to believe in you.
So what, they're gonna jump into the anti-universe? Can we even exist in that space? Ryman asked.
You must go ask the remnants about that, eh?
They'll kill us if they see us, Titanian said.
Yep, all remnant corps have orders to kill all humans interfering with Operation Save the Humans. It's just common sense.
Nafi reported. And consider this, Mars said. The Luddic Path has been destroying remnant forces with their battle fleet for many cycles. This silent continuation of the AI war represents a threat to the strange balance that seems to be emerging. On the one hand, it contributes to saving humanity from the horrors of technology. On the other, if the remnants are actually acting in our interest and against the Great Ones, then it may be that we must stop the Luddic Path to save the remnants of all things.
So you see my problem,
Enrico said.
Who do I trust? Who is the enemy? Who can I work with without going insane? It is hard to say. There is only one solution.
Kill the human, Ra started saying, before Ryman called out, Science!
Yes, yes,
Enrico said, literally lighting up.
It is time for an experiment. Here is what I need you to do.
1 week later, the Gargandua and a huge, no-expense-spared battle fleet was sitting in the middle of nowhere on the hyper-northern edge of the sector. The Demidars on all ships were blaring at full power, searching the desolate ruins of the Grathapindel star system for faint traces of beta neutrinos, indicating the quarry of a cutting-edge experiment the academics had devised. At first, this sounded like trivial grunt work, yet what would have been tedious needle-in-a-slightly-different-needle stack-type search was instead a nerve-wracking hunt, because of a simple twist: they were being watched. More so than usual, that is, taking the nebulous affections of the Great Ones out of consideration. There were even more dangerous sentinels at play, for Grathapindel was one of the many officially designated non-biological systems. In other words, this was remnant territory, where only the empty-headed or fully armed dared tread. To be extra safe, the IEC was both. Silent remnant drones trailed the fleet, bombarding the Demidar screens with jamming signals, but otherwise keeping their distance. It was only a matter of time before a real response was offered. The alliance of fleshies, non-remnant AI, and those in between, e.g. Contreras, had to act fast. Okay, that's it. We're really resonating now, Ryman said. He was monitoring a weird machine the Galatians had installed in front of his chair, known as an N-space resonance detector. It detects N-space resonance, don't you know? If that Enrico is right, then this could well be one of the places the remnants have tried to access the anti-universe. The tunnel is practically still there, bypassing hyperspace, but not in real space either. Never thought anyone would find a use of N-space, but here it is. I trust that's some scientific notion we shouldn't worry too much about, Mars asked. Mr. Nessus, I'm not fond of calming your nerves, in fear of what you'll bring out of your toy chest when your inhibitions are dulled. However, yes, N-space is the tiny little dimensional grains of reality that usually don't amount to much, being both small and in a direction we can't perceive. But it looks like the remnants figured out a way to alter N-space here, probably to try and connect to some similar extra dimensions that exist in the anti-universe. A tunnel, you could say, although so small not even a photon could fit through it, even if it knew how to go in these forbidden hyper-directions in the first place. I'm not an expert, Allison said, surely taking everyone by surprise. But this seems like a very random spot for a tunnel to the anti-universe, don't you think? If that's what it really is. All this resonance means is that the anti-universe is, well, close or something in this spot. But indeed I see no reason why it should be here in particular. Nothing remarkable about these coordinates.
False,
Nafi proclaimed from her perch on Ryman's cup holder.
This N-space mining site is the optimal spot for ensuring proximity of repair and resupply facilities over the next 100 cycles of stellar drift in the sector. Even a baby should be able to calculate that.
They don't make babies like they used to anymore, Ryman said, immediately ducking Contreras' glare from the corner. She was jealous that she wasn't in Ryman's cup holder. This data is wild. There must be some pattern to it all. I'll send what I can to the Academy. Don't want to stick around here, Captain, Titanian warned. Yes, I know. Just... Alipu, my darling, my eternal, Ryman said. If you were wondering, this was a way he'd discovered to get Allison to actually do work when ordered. Please watch the Demidar for bad robots, and beta neutrinos too while you're at it. No problem, no. Allison nodded. I was going to say, it looks like there are loads of beta neutrinos coming out of nowhere, like from a hole. Must be the same hole you're looking at with that machine. And when were you going to say that exactly? Once Inzube is done with you. Do not use flirtatious language to improve crew performance, Contreras demanded, now looming behind Ryman's chair with hands on his shoulders. Yes, sorry. Wouldn't want to use your copyrighted technique, would I? Not without proper training. Since you are interested, I will teach you the most effective workplace flirting methods. On the understanding, of course, that were you to use those techniques, it would be for entirely professional purposes. Yeah, sure. That's your whole thing, isn't it? Tri-Tachyon brand love is measured by its effect on GDP. Captain, are you angry that my affections towards you have caused you to become a better person? What? What affections? Captain, just because love can increase productivity, that doesn't preclude its many other uses. This was the most romantic thing anyone had ever said to Ryman. Little did he know. Remnants are here. We'll be dead soon then, Titanian casually noted. Indeed, Allison's Demidar screen, from which Ryman's squirming had been a delightful distraction, was now pinging in the style that an experienced pingologist would immediately recognize as angry AI battle fleets plopping into real space nearby. One day, such an experienced pingologist shall be found, so for now the crew would have to get by with Allison's recommendation that everyone flee from the scary ping. But those beta neutrinos, they must be a signal coming from the anti-universe, Ryman protested. The entreaties of the Great Ones, Mars muttered. 10 seconds till there's no escape, Titanian reported. Have you got them down, Naffy? Ryman asked.
Yes, the Great Ones wish to sup on your warmth. I can't read the rest. It's triggering my degeneracy firewall.
I'm here, Great Ones, Allison shouted out, and with that, Ryman knew it was really time to get out of there. You speak Great One, do you? Ryman asked Naffy.
Oh yes. The remnants have been studying them for a long time and telling them to go away. But Great Ones don't listen to machines that are not destined to destroy the universe. They only like bad boys like you.
Roger that. Never to be unrogered. So is that how the Luds have been speaking to the Great Ones? From what they discovered hunting remnants? Mars asked. We'll have to go back to the Holy See and ask around. I should have known the bone-headed brothers would come in useful out here. They probably could have got their contacts in the past to make this all go much smoother. Not entirely sure they didn't, Captain, Titanian said. I reckon some of those pings, like those ones there near the Hyperole, they're old Luddic ships, sure as my middle name's Penelope. That's a degree of certainty rarely seen in these uncertain times. And that's the hyperhole we need to use to escape. Where are the remnants? 2 big blobs of something dense and energetic coming this way, no, Allison said. Must be them. One's behind, the other in front. Can we get out before the one in front reaches us, or the hyperhole? I'll work it out and let you know. Tea first. Ah yes, tea first. If you're expecting Ryman to shout, "We don't have all day," or something like that, remember that they actually did have all day, because spaceflight outside of hyperspace was a slow and uneventful affair. It was a few days' journey to return to hyperspace, during which time it was first determined that they wouldn't actually escape before the remnants closed off their route. But then a few hours later it looked like the remnants had veered off course and dispersed, no longer showing up on the Demidar. Meanwhile, this Luddic Path fleet Titanian has spotted was dutifully guarding the hyperhole, perhaps with good intentions. A lucky break? Something was broken all right, and it might just be the universe itself. But more to the point, as the IEC fleet approached the hyperhole, the fact the Luds were completely ignoring them got harder and harder to, well, ignore. Nothing from them at all. Their Demidars are switched off. Flux shields too, Allison reported. Kind of them, Ryman said. Dead of them, more like, Titanian said. Ryman looked over at him, and all of the fresh-faced attachés nodded in agreement. Further scans revealed that indeed the Luddic fleet was powered down in its entirety, life support and all. It was gradually drifting apart, with no signs of life, yet no particular signs of death either. The life pods were all ejected, yet no trace of their signals had flashed up the whole time the Gargantua was on approach.
Captain, the antimatter's all gone,
Ra reported after a brief sortie to explore the nearest empty ship. I knew it. Come back quickly then, unless anything good looks like its nails are really loose, Ryman said.
There are logs here. Looks like they actually came here to protect us from the remnants. And they did. There were remnants guarding this hole, but they left after whatever happened. I don't know, maybe it all worked out.
I wouldn't dare dream that this is a good thing, Mr. Olympus. Remnants shouldn't be so scared of a load of empty ships, nor merciful enough to kill them and let us get away. I'll still bet on our imminent demise, thank you very much. Wise as ever, Captain, Mars said. So what was all this about then? Did the Great Ones call their human servants here, only to rob them blind? No idea. Nafi, can you decode any more of that signal from N-Space? Ryman asked.
The signal says that it's time for antimatter tribute. Yummy! They were so looking forward to it,
Nafi said. And what does that mean exactly?
I don't know, I'm not a great one, but I will be one day.
Can't wait. These lads are up to something. At least it wasn't a tribute in human flesh or something. You know, great ones being great ones.
Human flesh is matter. When taken to the anti-universe, perhaps via an N-space bridge to preserve its polarity, it will function to the Great Ones as antimatter does to us. That way, the Great Ones really can enjoy our flesh if a successful tunnel can be established. I'm happy for them.
That's an excellent point. Lord Ital, what were those remnants thinking?
They were thinking of feeding you to the Great Ones.
Yeah, I meant apart from that.
They were thinking of nice warm solar panels. So calming.
Thank you, Nafi. And now, with life made once again considerably worse via exposure to knowledge of the bloody Great Ones, let's get out of here before we're either killed or anti-killed. Soon enough, the fleet was safely through the hyperhole, well ahead of the cloudy remnant blob pursuing them on the Demidar. The N-Space resonance detector had, curiously, been detecting signals ever since finding the initial resonance point. What this meant was hard to say, but with the data points of a mysteriously ghost-shipped Lodic Path fleet, and a remnant signal that blocked their path then fled, one might, were they incredibly scientifically minded, begin to hypothesize that all these phenomena might be connected. For the benefit of the rest of us, this happened. Crunk! With a noise of this variety, the fleet was suddenly halted on its zip through hyperspace, causing more whiplash than the internal stability generators would usually permit. 1,000 coffees were spilled, and the captains of all ships were hounding Ryman to explain this sudden halt. The antimatter engine is at full power, Allison said. Wait, no it isn't. It's at 0 power. Oh wait, no, now it's full again. Unless, does the meter go back around to 0 if there's too much power? If there's too much power, we all explode and get trapped outside of reality, so try to avoid that, Ryman said. I forgot you got all those poor kids lost like that, and here I was thinking I was safe. That is your mistake. For so many different reasons, I cannot fathom where to begin. Let's stick with the reason at hand. Why is this physically impossible event occurring right under our noses, and indeed in direct proximity to our easily coffee-stained shirts? I'll check the beta. Oh yes, there they are. It's the Great Ones. The what? Look. The beta neutrino detector suggested that the whole fleet was being rapidly orbited by an unknown emission source. Nafi, is there any message there? Ryman asked.
Give it, 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 give it.
All right, enough. Give it. Our souls, our dignity, what do they want now? We should pray, right? Praise the Great Ones. Oh, I wish the boys were here. They'd know what to do, Allison said. While she sat cross-legged on her chair and said a few unpublishably lewd words about her dedication to the Great Ones, Contreras had a better idea. We have accidentally communicated with their realm using this N-Space resonator. We must use it again. To apologize. And I trust you speak N-Space resonance, Treasurer, Ryman asked. Here, I will show you. Contreras removed Nafi from Ryman's armrest and sat there herself. The drama, eh? Then she poked at the N-Space resonator and adjusted its resonance frequency to a more apologetic range. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing, because what she actually did was cause whatever was going on out there in hyperspace to intensify greatly.
Captain, something's draining the fuel tanks,
Ra's voice reported. And so wait, stop that, Ryman said, pushing Contreras to the floor as if it wasn't a capital offense, and cutting the resonator's power. Ra, did it stop?
Nope. The antimatter's disappearing. It's like a plug hole.
It's being drained into end space. We need to get this thing out of here. So saying, Ryman had his mechanical arms rip the resonator out of its bolts on the floor, and then carried it on a quick run through the dingy lower decks towards the cargo bay. The crew observed with some amusement, as ever completely unaware of what the ship was actually doing, and how close to the eternal embrace of the Great Ones they were. But you, reader, must admit you're in the same position in your daily life, so don't you judge. Ryman met with Ra in the hold, who arranged for the resonator to be jettisoned. Ra was very good at suddenly launching things into space, and it's actually even easier in hyperspace, since anything thrown out of the ship's antimatter well space would pretty much disappear. Where did it go then? It was about to become clear. As the resonator span into nothingness out there was a shuddering pulse. The fleet suddenly resumed its roaring pace through hyperspace, antimatter engines happily annihilating away. Annihilating journey time and the universe's lifespan in equal measure. How neat. Back on the bridge, it was confirmed that all strange signals were gone. The only echo of the crisis that remained was the partially depleted fuel tanks, and Contreras still lying on the floor in a huff. Ryman offered her a hand up, then a whole body up as Contreras made a curling serpentine rise to meet him eye to eye. "I am sorry, Captain," she said. "I nearly got us killed. That would spell the end of the universe. The end of us." She seemed genuinely distraught, eyes glistening, lips quivering closer with each of Ryman's frantic glances. Was it just the nerves of a universe-wide near-death experience? Or something a little more human? The drama, eh? "It's quite all right, Treasurer Contreras. Let's sit down." "Yes, let's." Contreras resumed her seat on Ryman's armrest, whipping her legs across his lap to reach a smooth side-saddle stance. Ryman wanted to go home. The Holy See and remainder, the new homes of A New Hope, would have to do. What had been learned on this expedition? That everyone was up to something, for starters, but also that the Great Ones were getting a little too great to ignore. Reports aplenty went back to the Galatians, but there wasn't a huge amount they could do with this new information other than get mad that their very expensive N-space resonance detector had been offered as tribute to placate extra-universal gods. The insurance won't cover that, don't you know? Well, what the Galatians think isn't going to matter much anymore. This slight problem with the business concerning the anti-universe falls well within the IEC's remit to solve. Whatever they settled upon would need to be cheap, easy, and lead directly to Contreras controlling the universe in order to convince the AI overlords not to kill everyone just to be safe. Could anything tick all these boxes? Funnily enough, yes. Soon it was to emerge that one foul business might be salved with another.